and another company called Brownbox in my spare time, about a 10-year-old company, and we make websites, and in Quickie we make emails and new emails. So I'm going to just get ready here. The clicker is on the keyboard, I think, right? Might just
any of them, yeah.
All right. Slideshow. Hey. Should I just carry this?
Keep it on.
Dang it.
No.
Okay, well, I don't know how to put this, but email is kind of a wheel, and also slideshows are really fast.
Yeah, go with view full screen.
Okay, let's try it. It's full screen. Let's go back. All right, this guy, I love this guy. He's about as old as email. Email's 40 years old. Did you know that? I didn't. I think 40 years ago was Ron Burgundy's time. But one of the things that I love about email is that it's a little bit of an underdog on the internet. Everybody loves Google, SEO, Facebook, Twitter. It's kind of, they're the show ponies, but the real work gets done in email. And so what I want to tell you about tonight is why it's powerful, how you might use it, and there's some stuff at the end which I was hoping Chris Dorella would talk about with complex kind of gravity form stuff, but we'll do that later. Is that right?
I might do.
Come to the
we've
front.
got a bit of time.
All right, come to the front. If it doesn't work out. Okay, so email. Why is email so powerful? One of the things is it's an activity that is relatively easily understood and understood by all. You know, everybody tends to know how to use email. Maybe not the email readers, maybe Outlook is a little annoying, but you know how to use webmail. People know how to send an email, receive an email, and read it. It's a fairly well, commonly understood platform, if I can put it that way, and it's been around for a long time. So one of the guys I work with, his mother has trouble with eBay, and she's in her 80s or so. She loves buying stuff, but she knows how to send off a request when she has any trouble. And you know, she hasn't been using email for that long. So one of the most powerful things about email is that it's common to lots of people and is relatively easily understood. Another thing that's great about email is how much goes around. So this quote is essentially imagine a full cup of rice is the number of emails sent every day. Then by comparison, all the daily posts on Facebook would make a miserable 10 grains. It is, it's busy. Email makes up lots of traffic online, as most of you would know. In fact, most of it is probably not legit email, but spam. But still, email is a very busy medium. In fact, email is the most popular activity on smartphones. Actually, between the ages of 18 and 25, that statistic comes out of, but it's true of most ranges of users of smartphones. Email, it surprised me that that's the case, because I would have thought something like Twitter or Google Maps or something other than email was the activity that was most popular. But it is, and people are always at their email. They have it in their hand, in their pocket. They can read, reply anytime they're sent on by my iPhone is generally their signature. And it's super popular. Email as a marketing tool is really great in terms of return on investment. So the statistic often said at the moment comes out of last year, a census of companies in the US. There's an average of 4,300% return on investment, which is huge. And compared to things like social and pay-per-click, it's one of the most effective, it's the most effective marketing channel for return on investment. Another reason that email is fantastic, and I particularly love it, is that people who receive marketing messages via email from their favorite company that they buy online or offline They spend 83% more on average, but they also spend more times. It's a statistic is they come into your shop more or they visit your website more, but also when they're there, they're highly engaged and they do more. It's a fantastic result for email to say you can deliver better spending and more spending for any business. Does anyone remember this guy? This is Tom.
MySpace?
Yeah, MySpace, Josh. Unlike social media, email is around for a long time. Social media will chop and change. MySpace had, 32 million people, and then died overnight when Facebook came along as the new blue friend in town. And Tom, he's on Facebook too. MySpace tried to relaunch. I think Justin Timberlake owns it, part of it. And that didn't work so well. Their UX was horrible. No one knew how to use it. And it didn't really take off again. But Facebook eventually will be the old kid on the block. Maybe it is now. You've got all of your other mobile networks. Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest. Pinterest is pretty cool at the moment, but eventually that will go. And email will stick around. One of the problems when you invest in transient media, I suppose, in the long term, like social, is that you're going to have to spend money twice. If you're on Facebook at the start, that's great, you have time to build your audience. If you're on MySpace at the end, you've lost your audience. And when people go up to Facebook, you have to go and find them again. With email, if you have somebody's email address, if I had everybody's email address here in the room, I'd be able to contact you, talk to you, and have a conversation no matter where you were. You're on your phone, sure you've changed technology, you might be on your tablet, you might be on your desktop, you've still got email. But if you're on MySpace, and you've put a whole lot of cash into building your audience on MySpace, you're the Arctic Monkeys, and that's great. One band succeeds. Facebook comes along, nobody's on MySpace anymore. Facebook is the place where you now have to go and find your old audience and try and reconnect with them. Social has a little bit of that problem, and unless I'm wrong, eventually those sites will change, people will move on, networks will break up, and more people will be on more networks. It's harder to connect with your community. So email is fantastic, because once I have your email, I can get you wherever you are and whatever you're using. Actually, I think he sold out. He sold out at the right time, I think. Got his money and left. Email is fantastic as well, because email works for all types of people. No matter, if you run a business, your customers are at any point in a journey on the sales cycle or the life cycle of the customer. Email can fit across, you can help communicate with your customers on any area of the sales cycle. So from being a prospector to being welcome in, come on in, maybe you haven't bought anything from us, but you want to know a bit more about us, from having purchased once from you or having purchased multiple times, to then getting a little bit older in the sales cycle, the customer cycle, and not buying so much, not buying at all, not engaging, and then maybe reactivating a little bit later down the line. Email can reach all of those people. It's appropriate for messaging to people anywhere they are on that list. So what can email do for your business? So email is a fantastic way of communicating, but does it actually work for your business? Does it work for your clients if you have clients who you're developing for? And is it going to be something that you can use in the long term? One of the things that you can do, and if you're just running a website and you want to email people about your site or what's happening, is to boost your traffic. Now these two spikes, you can see on these graphs there, to Google Analytics obviously. You can see these are real stats from customers of my own. The top one is a monthly view of traffic and a series of emails. You can see in the center, shot traffic up the wazoo like crazy. That's a fairly large international fashion brand, and they sold a whole lot of really cheap sunglasses. So essentially that's probably a 2-week period. The bottom one here, this is only, it's, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days old, this spike. And you can see it's a website where you can go and listen to audio, and you can download some resources, and you can hear it after hearing program on radio. An email went out. We have a new ebook. You can download it from our site. Here it is. It's great. The email went out to all of their subscribers, and traffic shot up like crazy. That was actually the last 3 years, I think, the largest traffic day that they've had. And it was only because of email. Social, in comparison to these 1,200 visits in one day, social did 10. The news didn't get out. Maybe people didn't want to share it, but it wasn't as big a traffic as some people say. So traffic, email can really boost, if you're communicating with people through email, can really boost traffic in a big way. Email also helps you to increase revenue over time. So here's an equation which is just understanding how revenue is generated in a business. So essentially, revenue comes from a certain number of customers, and you times that by how many times that they purchase from you, and times by the average spend that they have. And so essentially you can end up understanding revenue with this formula, and it comes out 1,000 customers. If they visit you 6 times, maybe it's a hairdresser, they come every 2 months, they spend $167, you can expect around $1 million of revenue. Email can affect variations in this revenue model. We can see if, for instance, there was a downturn in the economy. Often we say if there's a downturn, it's not only that people don't buy as much, they buy for less, and less people buy. So if, for instance, 25% downturn, it's quite large. You can see 1,000 customers, 25% less is 750. 6 visits a year, maybe they only come 5 times, and when they're there, they're not very excited about spending, so they spend less with you. Maybe they don't get their hair colored at the hair salon, they just get it cut and blow dry because they want to be tight with their money. Sounds like a fair amount, 25%. You're obviously thinking, yeah, 25% less in my revenue, not so bad. But when it comes across people spend less, they spend less often, and less people spend, it's actually, what's that? Percentage loss is huge, right? It's 422,000 as opposed to $1 million just because of a 25% slump in activity across all of the areas. So that can be damaging to a business. You can go out of business very quickly, actually, doing that. Where email comes in is the way that you communicate with your customers. You can help your business increase the number of customers, increase the number of times your customers spend, and also increase the average spend. You can understand through your customers' data what they buy and how to increase sales and sales amounts. So on the flip side, if we look at a 25% growth across the board, utilizing marketing such as email, we can see the numbers change a little bit. So if we put our activities into telling people about our business, telling them more often and regularly what about they like, what they might like to buy from you, and what you have to offer them that they would like, we might get an increase in numbers. So the opposite is 25%, 1,250 people buy, and in fact, because we see that email helps people buy more often. We might increase hairdressing visits to 8 times a year instead of 6. And of course, average spend goes up again by 25%, which is about $208. You can see, of course, that radical difference in revenue, which is 1.95 million instead of 1 million, which is an absolutely massive upturn in growth. And for a business or a customer of yours, if you're building for other companies, to understand how they might affect revenue using marketing that they own with their email address and that they can control into understand their customers' behavior, you can see that this will provide a fantastic boost in revenue, not just traffic onto websites. But what does email look like? You've all seen email marketing before. It's a text email. Hey, Johnny, I've got a client here who might need to do business with you. Can I introduce you? Can I get them to do work with you? Yes. Or Facebook, hey, someone poked you. Go and poke them back. That's a bit weird. You get onto Facebook and you go and press the poke button. Or Google, if you do any SEO, Google partners or Google agencies, they'll be sending you stuff saying, hey, how cool is this? You can win a Chromebook if you sell $2,000 worth of pay-per-click ads. That would be fantastic. And so you might have a series of emails, or there's a whole variety. This is just a short list of types of emails that you might send to your customers, your readers, or your customers' customers. A newsletter, most obvious one. Hey, this is what we've been doing in our agency this month. Here's the great work we've been putting out. Aren't we fantastic? Share this amongst your friends. An event. Come to our event. We don't know where you live, so we can't post or anything. We don't have your phone number, so we can't call you. But here's an email that says, come to this event. It's going to be great. You can register on our WordCamp website. Hey, you guys should think about that. RSS feed. So if you have an RSS feed on your website and you think people are going to want to hear about what you have to say every single time you say it, you can send an email to subscribers as soon as your post goes out, or at a dedicated time. Someone like MailChimp, if you already know, or Campaign Monitor, if you already know these guys, they'll help you use RSS to communicate with your subscribers automatically. Reactivation win-back, that's a lot of retail and online companies use this. We haven't heard from you in a while, as in you haven't bought anything from us. Come on back, we're going to give you 10% off if you buy from us today. That's a reactivation or a win-back. Email typically done for people who haven't purchased in a period of time. Video stores do that. They send out letters or emails coming, here's 3 vouchers, $1 any movie in the shop, come on in. They may expect you to buy maybe some more videos in the shop, or just to come back and buy from them again. Welcome series for an Apple product. Maybe your favorite app does this. When you sign up, they send a series of emails, 5, 10, just educating you around the software, saying this is how you're going to use it, this is the best way to use it, and here's some ways that people have already used it. Helps you to activate clients. Instead of having dormant accounts, getting people to get into the software or the app, using it so that they can enjoy the experience and eventually pay you probably for it. Adding extra value. If you're a lawyer or if you have expertise, maybe you're a web designer. I don't know if there's any web designers here, but you might add extra value to your customers. A simple email that just says, here's something we're thinking about, here's something that's going to be great for your business, or here's something that we know that might help you day to day. Have you thought of Google Apps? It's going to be great so that you don't lose all your emails when your computer dies, that kind of thing. Training, again, a series of emails that might help you to communicate to somebody how to do something. if it's automated and it's pre-written, then you can just fire it off at given intervals, and instead of calling or having somebody in the room with you. A tentpole event might be something like a movie. You know it's coming up. There's going to be a whole lot of buzz about it. You're sending out emails. You're doing your marketing. There's this pinnacle of activity, and then afterwards it slows down to the other side of the tent. So the tentpole is in the middle, which is your activity. It's a great way of doing that. So for instance, if you come along to WordCamp, which I highly recommend, you might receive a series of emails leading up. It's going to happen, it's going to be there. Come along. Then afterwards, here's some resources to download. Why don't you sign up here and come to the next event, or come to a meetup, which would be great, which you're already here. Customer insights. Google AdWords do this fantastically, or other statistics companies. So sending a customer what's been happening on their account over the last X period. So a month. The last month, your ads had 6,000 impressions in one click. Why don't you try this way of doing it instead? Or this ad is the most popular, so why don't you spend a little bit more money on that? Sharing advocacy action. If, say, you're a not-for-profit agency and there's an emergency that's happened, you can get people to advocate for you. Maybe say you've thought up this great idea of getting people to chuck buckets of ice over their heads, and you want to just seed the idea into the group of people that you have. Hey, if you don't do it in 24 hours, you have to donate money. Maybe that'll get popular, who knows? It's a great idea I just had. Anniversaries. Hey, happy birthday, here's 20 bucks. There's a great shop, Oxford I think they are. You go and sign up in their shop, just to get an email from them. They'll give you 50 bucks on your birthday for no reason other than they want you in their shop to buy something. You don't even have to buy anything to get that $50 worth. You can just go in and get a $25, probably not, $60 t-shirt, spend a little $10, or a pair of socks or something, and you've got value out of it, and they've got value out of you coming into their shop. And automation, which I think I've spoken about already, a series of emails sent off automatically to enhance your customer or your subscribers' behavior, to get them to do something. And of course, a sorry. Sorry, we just sent you an email that said, "Dear Sandy," when we know your name is Charles. We apologise for sending the wrong email, and here's what we're going to give you, or we know your name, or the date was wrong, or anything like that. I'll give a little example as to what I've done later. So there's a series of emails that you might undertake, and they all have different purposes, and they all have different outcomes. I'll show you a few that we've worked on, some in my past, some that we're currently working on. Here's one for a not-for-profit agency, 14 days of emails in a row. It was for people who were persecuted for what they believe in overseas, and this lady, Lydia's story was at the end. This organisation had people calling up on the phone crying, saying they really want to help these people. They were a combination of stories, but of things that actually happened, but Lydia was not this lady's real name, for instance, protect these people. And that was fantastic. They had 72% of people opening their emails at the start, in the first day, and only 55% of people opening their emails 14 days later, which sounds less, but in terms of 14 days straight, email, that is huge. The response that they got from this was amazing, emotional response, as well as advocacy response, and their cause was enhanced and pushed forward as a result. Company you may have heard of, Pet Farm, sign up to their club, join the Friends for Life club, and you're in for some extra special treatment. Great. Some may say this is a way of purchasing a list, but essentially here's your benefits for joining the club, which is just really a nice way of saying thanks for being on our list. You can get a 10% return on anything that you buy in the shop. So buy 10, get one free. A very generous $10 every time you spend $500. They are. Advance notice of events and promotions, aka come in and buy more from us. And exclusive offers and discounts, which is actually true. These guys would do 2 to 3 emails a week to 200,000 people when we were working with them. They've moved on, larger company now, and they would send an email. There's an exclusive event after 6 when everything closes at this shop. Come along, it's only for people who subscribe.
Wouldn't you say 2 to 3 emails a week is too much?
You would say, pressurise 2 to 3 emails a week is too much. You would unsubscribe if it wasn't relevant to you. But if you loved your cat and you wanted super cheap food for your cat, you'd be watching for discounts. So yeah, if you didn't have a cat, in fact, if you hated cats, probably.
2 to 3 emails a week would be logical if they could segment it into dog owners, cat owners,
yep.
and so on.
Yeah, which you can.
Right.
Yeah, so segmentation, I'm giving you information about your cat which you love. I'm giving it to you 3 times a week. You're okay. You want to know about that kind of stuff. So Obama's last election, he got re-elected. Did you know that? So President Obama, the President of Australia. How many emails do you think they were sending a day?
5.
5? Yeah, well, you know.
No, I guess it.
Okay, so there's this great case study online. If you go and look it up, essentially it's about the way that the digital marketing worked for Obama. 5 emails a day during that campaign that they would send, and some of them was just one line from Dick Cheney, or I don't know, probably not, who was on the other side of it. Hey, Dick Cheney, don't vote for Obama. And they raised hundreds of millions of dollars doing that. It was amazing. They had amazing results. People were highly engaged because they were so relevant. Everybody rich was going crazy. Everybody poor was just working, and he got re-elected. He essentially, through his digital marketing campaign, driven by email, was able to build the funds that he needed to get re-elected. And so if email is relevant, pertinent, and particularly if it's time sensitive and you know something's going to end, then unsubscribe is not necessarily a problem because you want to know about it and you want an update. So this is relevant. I've just signed up to your thing and I'm expecting a discount in the mail. So when I get it, I'm going to open it and read it. This band, they were touring around Germany, USA, and they sent their list free download. The show, some cheesy show in America on cable had one of their songs on it, and so they sent out an email, here, you've just heard it, it's on, and go and grab it, download it in the special space. Don't tell anyone, but really do tell everyone. We want more downloads. Gossip Girl, thank you. It was Gossip Girls. We all know Gossip Girl is a great show. We're all watching. Here's a different type of email that we've sent. Hey, this is a reverse email. It's kind of it's not sneaky. It's kind of true. It is true. All right. So there's an event happening for an organisation here in Sydney, and they want to tell their subscriber list about the event. What we've done here is to replicate a conversation between the CEO and the marketing manager, and said, hey, Gavin, further on from our conversation, it's great, you should come along to this event. I'm so glad that we've got this guy speaking at it, and he's really worth it because I saw him speaking recently. I'm happy for this early bird rate discount. That's fine, but limited to 2 weeks. Exclusive, limited time. Here's the link. and that person has sent that marketing manager. Marketing manager has then written a little note to you or to me to say, hey, I just got this email from my CEO. Isn't that great? I think it'd be great for you to come along. And you can see the link below in his email. That email smashed like crazy for that company. They had an amazing number of results in terms of people clicking through, but also in terms of people responding to say, sorry, I can't come. So we sent it through software, which is the way we send emails to a few thousand people. It was from a real person, and you could reply to a real person, but it was a mediated sending email. And this person did want to send to his customers to say, come along. It's just a really great way of doing it. It doesn't have to be nice graphics every time, doesn't have to be fixed width and all of that. It was a simple email send. Hairdresser client, you can go to this hairdresser and get a $400 haircut. Some of you guys need it. Everybody needs a $400 haircut. It's a reactivation email. They had one of their haircut people. I wouldn't do well there. Stylists, I'm clearly not. They went, and often in that kind of service industry, when the stylist goes, the customer goes with them if they like them. And they have a relationship with them. And this stylist, it didn't work out for the stylist, and they closed their business afterwards. Hairdresser company said, hey, they've just closed down, why don't we send this to our lapsed customers? Do you remember us? Come along, we've got this new person who's going to be really fantastic and do just what you like. In fact, we'd like you to meet Kylie, whose work is second to none. She has a background in blah, 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 blah. She's fantastic, come along. In fact, here at the bottom, we're going to give you complimentary conditioning treatment and blow dry with your next colour service of $1 million. An email just to get people back. Come on into the shop. We're sure you miss us. Here's this new person who's probably great. He's great, not probably. Follow-up and activation. There was an event on. Thanks for coming in the orange. It was great. We've got some deals just for you for coming along, and there's some downloads. A really easy follow-up. Nothing particularly spectacular, but it activates people into action after they've gone away, gone home, and forgotten about what they did. Fiji was flooded. Samaritan's Purse sent out an email. It says really quick. It was really quick, within 24 hours. There's a disaster, you can tell it's red. That's actually true. It's red. It is bad. 1,500 people have taken refuge. National disaster, deadly flooding, 6 lives so far. Click help. You would want to give money, right? That's fair. And these guys go in and they help out in this situation. And then you can click now, and there's a whole lot of detail of what we're doing and how your money is going to go into action and do its good thing. Really great way. Emails are a fantastic way of breaking news and getting an immediate response because people are emotional now. They're reading papers online, watching the news, everything about that event. So that's a few examples of email and how it can be used, how it has been used. So WordPress, how does WordPress fit in with email? It's just a bit of a trick. So some of the stuff I'll show is a little advanced. So if you're not doing any email, and you're not particularly advanced at WordPress, that's fine. But if you get it, then you'll get it. That's okay. There's a graphic missing. In fact, it's underneath the banner. But here's just an example of capturing data with WordPress. So there's heaps of form plugins you can use for WordPress. You can, of course, use your own code and pop-ups and rich white guy, the other rich guy. Give us some more money. Happens and zip code, important so that they can know who is in what area and how to target them best. It gives you a little bit of information around a person and how you might want to tailor your message. And this graphic under here, which is actually over here, smiling guy, hey, sign up, I'll give you some tips. A picture associated with an inbox and a promise. And that's how you might capture some data. Show people an offer, tell them why they would like to subscribe with you, give them a really easy way of subscribing, don't make them log in with 10 million forms of what's your kid's name, where they go to school, irrelevant. All you want is their email address. You can get all of the rest of that information later by asking. And people are, if you're giving people value, they're going to probably return you the favour and give you a bit more information. So go onto WordPress.org or .com, grab some plugins that might help you subscribe people up to your form. Even if it's just to send me an email, just let me know and I'll send you a regular email. It may even just be out of your inbox. If you don't have heaps of people. From that simple to this a little bit more complex, WordPress data input on the page with gravity forms. What we've got here is an email that was sent to a series of customers. The information that we have on that customer is their email address. We know their name because they're a customer. We know their company. We know what they are, phone number and address. And we've got that in our email system, MailChimp or Campaign Monitor or something like that. That's our database. And what we've done is when we've sent them an email, we've created these links. And inside that link we say, okay, we're going to put email, and we're going to put organization name, and we're going to put first name and last name. Just really simple pieces of information. And when somebody receives that through our software, through MailChimp or Campaign Monitor, it's automatically put in where email is. It's put John and Citizen. Organization, it's put organization name, Citizens Inc. So when they've clicked on the link, that data is in the link URL. The URL is then read by Gravity Forms, in this case, the plugin, which can read the URL, and it's pre-populated the page. And what that means is, I don't have to fill in my data. I don't have to tell you for the 15th time what my name is. And it's all ready for me to just press the button to reserve my seat. In this case, free offering. I can win something, click through. They've made it super easy for me to do that. I click and the transaction is made. Now, Christopher, if you have time, you'll explain that a bit more. And that may explain it more, funnily enough. But a really great way of getting people to interact with you through your website without them having to fill anything out again. So that's dynamic data with Gravity Forms plugin. A similar thing is you may have created a series of pages that are customized for your customer. And you know their company name, and so say you owned a company called Light Campus, or you worked for them, or say you worked for Chris Dorella, or you were Chris Dorella, I might send you an email that says, hey, go onto your page and go and grab something that's just for you. And so I've got my software that automatically put in after the slash your company name, which is a page that I've already created, and on it is personalized information. It may be your logo, it may be previous history, it may be a photo of you. That's great. I don't know, whatever you might want to do to customize it to entice people to work with you, or to buy from you, or to subscribe to something else, or to leave you feedback. WordPress, obviously it's very easy to create pages in WordPress or posts, and so it's a really rapid way of doing that. So you use subscriber data, send them to their landing page, and they have a customized personal experience. Email is really great actually at doing customer service, and just kind of augment that customer service experience by providing personalized information. Which when I'm talking to you as a person, I know a bit about you, but when I'm talking to 1,000 people at once, I know it because I've stored it in my database software. And so some of that software is up here on the list. A few things on where to start if you haven't already started. Campaign Monitor, can I suggest start there? They are an Australian company, they're in Sutherland. They have, there's not many people in the office, but they have 2 chefs full-time that work for them. So everyone loves working with a cool company. Yeah, they're not Google, but they're cool. MailChimp, they are an American company. They're more sophisticated software. Campaign Monitor is beautiful, easy to use. MailChimp is a bit more advanced and not as beautiful, but they have a monkey. And so go to either of these 2 websites if you're interested in learning a bit more, starting. They have free offers, free information, lots of resources to get you started in how to do email. Plugins that we like, Gravity Forms. It's really simple, but also really complex. And you can do a lot with it, e-commerce, not e-commerce, just contact forms. It has a WYSIWYG interface, so it's easy to set up forms. And Contact Form 7, which we don't use heaps, but it's another tool that is great to use. I think, one more screen? Reading and resources. If you wanted to know a bit more about email or marketing in general, econsultancy.com is amazing. They're all set up with lots of white papers, articles on a very regular basis that will deepen your understanding of all areas of marketing, generally digitally, given the E bit of consultancy. Email Expert, if you want to know what's happening in the industry, if you care about that kind of thing. Email Expert actually is run by a British man who works for Campaign Monitor now. And he's in Australia, he's really easy to talk to. And Email Marketing Reports, if you have a boss or a client and you want to convince that email is worth it, head there, grab some statistics, understand why it's really useful. Last thing. Here's my big sorry. I sent one email, the wrong email, on the wrong day, the wrong details, and unfinished to 120,000 people. My big sorry, I told my client, they were very gracious about it. They said delete that. Delete the report so our manager doesn't see. And it's okay, because you do such great work. I may have cried just a little bit, knowing that that had gone out. As soon as I clicked the button, I had a big sorry. But the interesting thing is, sorries are often opportunities to contact people again and to do more business. So I'm taking this as a deliberate strategy. Not very often, but it may just work. Anyway, thank you. That's a little bit about email. I hope that was helpful.
Guys, do you have any kind of quick questions for Andrew?
That one that where you direct the clients to their own page.
Yes.
What kind of system would you plug in do you use to do that kind of thing?
So the question was directing people to their own page. What kind of plugins do you use? Not many, actually. We have a lot of the time we just do a really simple page, a landing page. This is for you. You click on it, and there's a logo, and we've just duplicated a few pages, created new ones.
So it's not generating one for thousands?
Not generating for thousands, but I'm sure there's something out there that takes dynamic data from WordPress and shoves some data on the page. I think there is. Actually, if you're thinking of building a plugin, that'd be one.
Yeah, there's one called WP Personalizer, I think, and WP URL.
Yes.
They're a bit unreliable at times,
Yeah.
but they do a pretty good job with WordPress.
It's true. If you're any good with PHP curl, you can probably do that as well. Yeah, so generally it's a manual thing. We do it for high-value customers who have high-value customers. Yeah, talk to him afterwards. He'd be great.
Do you have any techniques to prevent emails going into the spam folder or the
Yeah, so
promotions tab?
that's fair. Lots of emails go to spam, and that's generally a fairly tricky kind of space. The thing that, so spam filters often vary, and they're not always fantastic at filtering out spam, but they can be overzealous or underzealous if you report them. So I've got a customer, if I send him just an email, a normal email with a URL in it, it'll just block me out of his world, and it'll never get through. So typically, subject line, don't be spammy, speak like a human, give people information that they want to hear about. So if they've signed up with you online, send them an email that just says, hey, thanks, here's our address, add it to your whitelist or safe senders list. And that can often mitigate that problem. Otherwise, speak in human language. You know, you get those emails that are like Viagra ads, and they just make no sense at all. You know, use everyday language. Also, we've got a lot of clients. If some of our clients send to educational places, so edu.aus, and often spam filters are like set up to blazing hot. And so, if they receive a marketing email, often we call up and say, hey, we've noticed that 25 of your staff haven't received our email because they'll bounce because of spam. Can you please put us on your whitelist? Generally, lists aren't so huge that for a lot of our clients that would be a prohibitive cost. Just contacting people and say, look, we're sending legit emails. They're automated, so it looks a bit, you know, it looks like a robot, and it is. Also, you can authenticate your domain through something like Campaign Monitor and MailChimp. They'll help you to do domain authentication and domain keys so that your email looks like it's actually coming from you instead of a computer, which it is. Yeah, so that's the start. Yes?
Not quite sure how one uses cookie in the sense that is it that you would take an Excel list of emails and names and send them out, or do you design or
yeah, Clicky is a service organisation as opposed to software. The software, we use whatever software our clients use, or Campaign Monitor or MailChimp, and we do from development, copywriting, design, development of emails, and everything in between, if there is an in between, and sending. That's typically us. But the software that I mentioned, campaignmonitor.com or MailChimp.com, they'll help you do all of that as well, but not with a person. I'll just, you know, click here if you want to do this, click there if you want to do this. We tend to stray into strategy and execution. Yes?
I had a situation where I had a website with a blog with an option on logging in, and after a while I got regular email and names, contact listed, and then I began to investigate because they were coming in reasonably rapidly, or what I expected, and basically they were 99% claims that had been generated. I started to realise I was getting very similar types of names and that thing. So you're automated.
Yeah.
I then killed off most of the database basically of all those users.
Yeah.
What do you do to protect against that sort of spamming people from your email address the other way?
Yeah.
Spamming the first.
So there's a couple of ways. One is double opt-in. We call it double opt-in, which is you put your email address and you click submit or subscribe or join me up or whatever. Then you send an email where you have to click again, and that's to filter down even the bored people who just don't want it. It can really help your lists grow if you don't double opt-in, but you also do get the high quality subscribers, which you're after. You don't want to do business or talk to people who don't care. So we just say opt in again, just click it, you're done, that's fine, that's one way. Another way, we use Gravity Forms. It has a honeypot. So there's an extra field, a hidden field, which only computers fill in because they can see it, and they have, bots often fill out all of the data in a form, and that way Gravity Forms know it's got the honeypot, it's stuck in there, whether it's spam clearly, so we're not going to send that through.
The capture,
Capture annoys humans as well, so we tend not to use it.
That's what I'm thinking. I was working on the one the other day. I thought, is that a T or an L? That's not a T.
Or the dodgy photo of the hotel number or something like that. It looks like a 599. So capture, yeah, sure, if you want. But
I'd rather not. So that's what I was just thinking. Is there something other than capture you think?
Yeah, so Gravity Forms has this honeypot, which is fantastic.
I've not heard of honeypot, certainly about it.
Yeah, it's just a tick box to turn it on and look after you. I don't know if a Kismet does that kind of stuff, but yeah. So, anything else? Yes.
One question. If you have to choose one of those forms, the Galaxy forms or the Contact Form 7, which one would you go with?
I would go with Gravity Forms. I don't know Galaxy Forms very well, so I'd probably do paper, scissors, rock at that point and give it a go.
And what happened with that data capture? Can that automatically go into MailChimp?
Yeah, so your form software will often have plugins or preset connections where you put your API key in. They'll tell you how to get it, API key and password or account name or list ID, and that will just automatically connect that software up for you. So you can also say, okay, I want the email address, and if I have any comments, then I'm going to get their first name, last name, and any other details to go up to MailChimp for me as well.
Just to talk about the difference between Gravity Forms and Contact Form 7. Contact Form 7 came out first, and it's free. Yes, that's why a lot of people use it. It can kind of put in fields, and it adds it to basically a short code. Just results from that. Gravity Forms is a premium plugin, so now you can pay for it. Now, a lot of people don't want to pay for stuff, but you really do get what you pay for in terms of quality. Gravity Forms, I think it's about $99 a year to keep up the support. You can buy it once and use it forever, but if you want to keep up the support, you pay a year before that. But it's a drag and drop interface, basically. So you've got a list of all checkbox, select, if you do e-commerce, product stuff, product control. It's basically drag and drop it across the user.
What about the other way around? Can MailChimp or Campaign Monitor has the ability for you to create forms that you can embed on the website too?
Yeah, you can do that.
They do, and you can go in and create a subscribe form. The question was, MailChimp, Campaign Monitor, can you get code to just plop it on your site? Yes, you can. Some of them, depends on where you want to put it. So if you're putting in Campaign Monitor, give you JavaScript. So you need to have, say, the sidebar experience. If you put in a text widget like you often do, HTML, it won't take JavaScript. And so you've got a bit of a problem there. So you might want to do it another way. But yes, they provide you the tools to do that. And even put it on your social page as well, or to send around the subscribe page. They'll just give you a plot page that you can send people to as well. It doesn't have to be on your site.
But they don't protect you from spam sign-ups.
No, they don't.
Yes,
it's
Gravity Forms or something.
Yeah, that's right. So whoever submits it, submits it. Yeah.
Thanks very much. Thanks, Andrew. You can see you do some We'll just take 5 minutes to set up, and Kristen's going to go through some of the Gravity Forms and just kind of show you exactly what we need to do to link up this system to emails.
And getting people's data in. Essentially,